Well, nice meeting you. I'm Jessica.
Pleasure, Jessica. I'm Billy.
So knowing that Bloodrayne is based off of a video game, have you played the video game at all to prepare for this?
I haven't, but I watched people play it.
Yeah, what were your impressions? How fun and exciting would that be?
Pretty exciting.
I can imagine.
No, it's a really cool game, actually. And our film is like a prequel to that. It takes place in the 18th century and sets the stage for of the Bloodrayne legacy, which is funky. The game is bloody and wild, and she's really sexy. And the movie lives up to that aspect of the game.
Speaking of how it is quite unreserved and running with that train of thought, how is it working for a director that is very unreserved in regards to his vision?
It's an absolute pleasure. Better, the man who has complete convictions and the means and the, pardon me, dare I say, balls to...
You might say balls. We will allow you to do that.
To actually, fulfill it. It's a pleasure. Love him or hate him, he rocks. And
yeah.
In this case, it was a pleasure to, be part of the vindication and, of Uwe Boll.
Listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude.
Time to get serious about movies.
100 rotten movies worst we can find. Is there any hope left for man? Pray for our souls and pray for our minds. On we must go, the rotten Redeemer.
All right, hello, welcome to Rotten Redeemers.
We're live.
And we're going to be doing Bloodrayne this week, the 99th worst movie of all time, according to the article that we're running off of, link to which will be in the description. Joining me this week is David.
I'll be here every week.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh.
My co-host. It's a bit in the
tough crowd.
Yeah, the Tim Heidecker on Cinema show. Greg Turkington's on every single episode, but he always introduces him as a guest.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we'll see about next week. There's more Szymanski's where I came from.
It's true. Yeah, we're doing a real popcorn classic this week. We're doing Bloodrayne, the Uwe Boll classic.
Bloodrayne 1, because
it did end up became a franchise. It's actually, there have only been 3 games also, so the film franchise has outpaced the video game franchise, much like the Resident Evil movies. I think during the amount of time that those were running, there were more numbered Resident Evil movies than there were games. So what a tradition, the greatest tradition of all.
I don't know. Is there a Bloodrayne comic? Maybe.
Yes, there are some Bloodrayne comics.
Maybe that's decent. You never know.
It's definitely possible. There's some stuff in the mythology that's interesting, but for me, like, there's not a single thing in the mythology that's like unique. It's just like a story about vampires. Like, there's not like any unique beat to it. Like, Dampiers are a thing. Like, Vampire Hunter D, half vampire. Like, Blade's a half vampire. Like that's a very popular thing. Like that in and of itself isn't that interesting. Like, there's no actual like interesting mythological notes. She does say the word fuck in the game a couple times. She calls other characters bitch. And in the movie, I think the word rape is used like 4 times. So definitely some big edgelord energy.
That's her thing.
Yeah.
She just talks about
yeah.
You raped my mother.
Yeah. So I guess the trigger warning should have came before we said that, but sorry.
Oh yeah.
Whoops. Oops. It's okay. It's gonna be a oops from me, dog. So Bloodrayne, it's an Uwe Boll movie, came out January of 2006. Not at all based off the plot of the original Bloodrayne video game, like at all. The original Bloodrayne video game, I played it for the first time in preparation for this episode. I knew of it, but I had never played it. It takes place in the 1930s, and you fight like Nazis. This takes place in like medieval times.
Yeah.
I don't think there were Nazis. Ben Kingsley had some Nazi energy for sure, but
some definite that wig he had on too was that was my favorite part.
Yeah, I'm glad there was at least one shot of him where they showed him completely bald, so they were like admitting that it was a wig.
Yeah.
That made me happy because I was like, oh fuck, they're really gonna they're gonna go all the way with this, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then no, finally.
Yeah, this movie, watching it, I was just like, okay, like getting some Blade vibes, but really struggling carrying a storyline.
It has a hard.
There's not a lot going on with any explanation of why anything is happening, really. So,
yeah, and it feels like, I feel like a thing that a video game movie can kind of get away with is letting some of the story like beats and like some of the mythology kind of breathe because like you are aware of the source material. But this game has nothing to fucking do with the source material. So it's
and I haven't played the game, so I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're like barely describing all this shit. Like they're like, you need the ritual and the bones need to be taken to like, and it's like, okay, well maybe if like I had like a backstory like already, and I'm like, okay, they're like referencing that. Like the Marvel movies do shit like that all the time. They don't like explain a MacGuffin because you already know the thing from the comic, or like it from the 15 like YouTube videos that you've been suggested like about the first trailer for the movie or whatever bullshit. So, but like this movie, there is no other thing that it's referencing. It's just meandering writing, and I kind of love it. It fucking rocks. But so
I was really hoping after last week that we were gonna get a good movie or at least something that was watchable. Like I did watch it twice, but that was only because I struggled so hard to watch it the first time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely substantially a dramatic drop off from Material Girls. Like Material Girls is like it's infinitely more watchable than this for me. I don't know how you feel about it, but
I just had like I get the basis of the storyline, but like I said, I didn't know why she was doing anything that she was doing. I had a hard time figuring out if she was killing vampires or humans because like you were saying, there's not anything unique to the type of vampires there were, but I'm like, she's sucking everybody's blood, so
sometimes when characters would die or right before they started fighting, there would be like a fucking Snapchat filter on their eyebrows. And like some of them just looked like they were scowling, pissed off people. They
took that straight out of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, all right, we're gonna do the Buffy thing with these vampires. We're gonna make them look normal, and then when they want to, only certain vampires are gonna transform their faces.
Yeah, for sure. So January 6, 2006 is the day that this movie came out. A wonderful time in box office history.
Well, based off of when they released it, they couldn't have been expecting much because I feel like you got the summer movies and then you got Christmas movies, and then right after the New Year when nobody wants to see a movie, we're going to release this thing. Yeah,
it's true. It's a weird. January is like the fuck you month. Fuck you, it's January, I believe.
Yeah. 2 weeks earlier, you would have had a $100 million movie. Not that this was worth that, but
no. Apparently, it only opened in like 1,600 theaters too.
Yeah, how they turned that into a trilogy, I don't know, but maybe the second one is better.
Yeah, I don't know. It's lower rated on IMDb, so does not bode well.
But it's higher rated on Rotten Tomatoes otherwise. Well, actually, I haven't looked ahead on the list, so
it might be further down.
It might be further down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the number one movie I think is guessable.
Okay, January 2005.
I can give you a hint.
Let me think. Give me a hint to what's the genre.
So it's okay. I'll give you a hint. It's a movie that is by a friend of Quentin Tarantino, one of Quentin Tarantino's director friends, and it was his like breakout movie. His biggest hit, I should say, because he had already had a movie that was out that like people liked. But
I'm drawing a blank, man. I was thinking it was the guy that did Inception. Or Robert Rodriguez movie or something like that.
It's close. Robert Rodriguez is close. This guy who's friends with Quentin Tarantino went on to be an actor in a later Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I like Quentin Tarantino movies, but
it was Eli Roth in Hostel.
Oh man, Hostel
and Inglourious Bastards. Yes. And you want to know a very funny thing? 2 weeks later, the number one movie was Underworld Evolution.
Oh man!
So people were craving female vampires.
Nice.
You just missed it by 2 weeks, Uwe.
Yeah. TX didn't cut it as the lead vampire.
Yeah, not quite. And then later that year, Silent Hill was the number one movie for a week in April. So video game movies could work.
Not all a bust.
Yeah. So Shame.
I was just gonna say, I'm hoping that we, come across some winners on this list. This could turn more into a chore, in the long haul.
Yeah,
I
definitely
gonna get worse from here.
I think that's possible. Although I think number 1 or number 2 is X versus Sever.
Ooh,
The classic Banderas.
I'm always down for it.
Yeah, so I think there'll be some peaks and valleys for sure.
Yeah.
Would you like to guess the number 1 song?
What song? I'm gonna go with a hip hop song. It was probably by Ludacris or Usher. I think
Not
they were
quite.
big when I was in high school.
It's actually a person whose career peaked in the 90s. They came back for one in 2006.
Britney Spears.
No.
No, I don't got it.
Don't forget about us by Mariah Carey.
Oh,
And then I think you can guess the number 1 rock song.
was it a Nickelback song?
Yes.
Oh man, let's see. Was it Hero from Spider-Man 2? Oh,
that would have been a few years
tied
earlier.
it together. Yeah. Oh, it was Rockstar then.
No.
Let's see, How You Remind. No, that was before. I don't know. I only know those 3 songs.
Do you know another one?
Oh,
I could give you
Photograph.
a hint. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Look at this photograph.
Yeah, so that was number 1 on the rock chart, number 5 on the Hot
nice.
100. So it almost cracked full mainstream number 1. That would have been rad.
Oh man,
Almost made it.
I'm still waiting for them to come back.
Yeah,
Nice.
they will.
Oh, probably not.
Like the second wave of Corona, when you least expect them and you feel like your life is getting back to normal and things are good, you'll just faintly hear coming over the airwaves.
Yeah, or they can keep remaking old classics.
It's true. That's like
Like-
all Breaking Benjamin does now. Breaking Benjamin, it just
Devil Went
like,
Down to Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you like that. You like their Devil Went Down to Georgia.
I did, but I'm not sure, like, because it was so built up in my head, and I know how you feel about Nickelback, so I'm not sure if I actually liked it or if I'm just, when you play the foil to something for so long that you actually start to believe your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a great song.
I'll go on the record here. Nickelback, they're a fun to hate band more than they are actually bad. I think MCR gets the same thing, but MCR is like actually good. So Nickelback didn't release one of the better rock albums of the aughts, so they can
Yeah.
go fuck themselves. But no, they should just do Breaking Benjamin's career, which is they just release songs they wrote when they were actually popular and good, and they just re-release them now. And sometimes they'll have the Flyleaf Girl sing with them, and that's it. That's their whole career now. Like that fucking rule, that owns, dude. Those guys are just re-releasing the same.
I think he's still married to Avril Lavigne. They could also do like the.
I'm gonna have to fact check you on that. I'm pretty sure they're not together anymore.
Man. Okay, you could be
Right.
right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that that's fucked up some of my Halloween plans.
Oh man, because
Ruined a perfectly good couple's Halloween costume.
Yeah,
Their domestic
and,
squabbling.
I feel like they missed out too, because they could have done the Tim McGraw, Sheryl Crow thing.
Yeah, this is why when we get the stacked
Or they release
Supreme
an
Court
album
back,
together. Like,
when we get the Supreme
yeah.
Court back, which we're going to, we're gonna fill that seat. We're gonna get the Supreme Court back. We need to ban divorce. So shit like that can't happen.
Yeah, I know. There can't be many Canadian power couples left.
No, there's not a single one, and that's you
Yeah.
know why. You don't
Yeah.
need me to tell you. Yeah, fucking A. So yeah, that was the music at the time. Are you feeling like you're in 2006?
Yeah, I missed this one when it was released, and I understand why.
It's really weird because like I don't think the Bloodrayne games like were ever like that critically or like commercially successful. I feel like it was a big trying to make fetch happen type of thing. Like they wanted Bloodrayne to be like this cool IP that everyone liked, and they tried to like reverse engineer it. But I don't think like a lot of people liked it. But then I was talking with the guys on the game show, and they were all like they were like, yeah, I had a copy of that. So like, okay, maybe it was a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they all said they'd never beaten it, so that's not.
Nice. Yeah.
I will say
also,
I played like a couple hours of it. It's not bad. I didn't hate it. Like it's not like unfun.
Well, that's good. At least something good came of it.
There's a lot of gunplay though. You shoot like guns are a big.
Were there
thing.
a bunch of Bloodrayne video games, or just you said there was 3 of them, right?
There were two. There were two in the main.
Okay.
There were 2 numbered titles, and there was like a third one that was like a spin-off that had completely different gameplay and like a completely different art style. I think it was like a comic book style art. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so 2 and a spin-off, I'd say, which does mean that the movies do win.
Yeah.
Director Uwe Boll, I think we'll probably see more of his work. I think at some point we could do like a big retrospective on him, because he's like the essence of what we're talking about, what we're going for, you know?
Yeah.
Are you ready to get into the movie proper?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So I guess it's like the 18th century. We drop in on it almost feels like a real movie, like a little bit.
Yeah, like when I started this movie, man, I was in. Like the opening credits, like the way they did it, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be like maybe it's going to be kind of a scary vampire movie, because like Blade is really fun and like entertaining. So I was like, all right, this is, they were dropping some major horror vibes, and I was like, all right, like I like what's going on here. And then they, just drop into that little carnival scene, and it's like, oh.
So the opening credits are rolling by, and I too had my moment of, okay, I think I'm gonna like this movie, and that was when I saw the credit featuring a special appearance by Billy Zane.
I don't know which one you're. Oh, okay, Billy Zane. I was like,
and
there were 2 that popped out.
Oh, not with Billy Zane, but featuring a special appearance by Billy Zane. And if you were ever trying to find a way into my heart with just a credit, that would be the way to do it for sure.
Yeah, that one got me going. The other one was I saw Meatloaf, but then it had a last name attached.
Yeah, I have a fucking story about that. So I was hoping Michael would be here.
I'm pretty sure it's the same guy, but
yeah. Michael knows about this. So I, like a fucking psycho, I remember this. I watched like 3 Meatloaf movies on like fast forward, because I was telling Michael, like I know there's a Meatloaf movie where he like puts a last name on during the credits. Like I've seen it. Like it's burned into my brain. I've seen it, but I couldn't remember what it was. And I Googled for it. I'm like, Meatloaf last name. I typed in all the shit, and like it was never there. So I ended up watching like Spice World, like Wayne's World, all the worlds that have Meatloaf. And like just looking for the credits and seeing if he comes in as Meatloaf, and he shows up in this movie as Meatloaf a Day, and this is the movie. I swear, like that was one of those like surreal things. I was like, did I dream that? Did I dream that there was a Meatloaf movie where he had a last name?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Well, like the last name got me though, like, and I felt stupid. Like I'm all, wait, no, it's got to be the same guy. I was like, no way, there's another dude that's putting his name as Meatloaf in anything. Like,
yeah. No, I got
like
really
a guy well, maybe he is actually named Meatloaf. I don't know, but I was just like, all right, no, it's got to be Meatloaf. And I actually had to wait till he showed up on screen. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. That was stupid for you to question that this was the same guy. I'm like,
specifically, fucking, I would do anything for love music video, Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me so happy to see him. But yeah, I had an epiphany during the credits. I'm like, oh, this is the fucking movie. I watched so many shit movies. Not that Wayne's World is bad. I literally like put Spice World on, and I swear Michael thought I was crazy.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, well, I guess I dreamed it. Like, I don't know. But no, it was apparently Bloodrayne. But yeah, featuring a special appearance by Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
And it was a special appearance, to be sure. I have my favorite IMDb review here if you'd like to have me read.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm locking my doors as I write this. But really, people, look, I know the movie bombed. I know the director is a dumb nut by sitting here and writing for 2 hours about how watching the movie was such a waste of time. You are only wasting more time. Very not lacking self-awareness in writing this. Like, all you people complaining about the movie are just wasting time. I am so sick of how reviews pick what you watch, what you play, and buy nowadays. It's now-days, not nowadays. Nowadays. I thought it was a neat little movie. A bit cheap and heavy on the phony blood, but not that bad all around. What does make the movie look bad is when you jump online and read a huge amount of errors in the movie so you can be looking for them. I think that if I had just watched the movie, it would have been good. Bottom line, watch something if you want to know what to watch something if you want to know what to think of it. Don't let others witch and moan and keep you from getting your own opinion. So that's the
He wrote Witch and Moan.
Witch and moan. I don't know if that's like if this is a guy who's like literally never heard the actual phrase, or if he was trying to like tone it down.
Maybe that is the actual phrase. I find that some phrases are different than I thought they were.
I mean, maybe he's like this really like sly New Yorker commentator, and he's writing on there. He's like being like, "Well, it's vampires, witches, there's a little bit of crossplay there." And I'll say I'll say witch and moan, add a little repartee in there. I'm sure that's what he intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that maybe he just didn't want to cuss. Maybe he's religious type, but then he's watching the vampire movie. So
he's watching Bloodrayne. He's encouraging people to go watch Bloodrayne.
yeah, violence and nudity.
Yeah. Maybe he watched like the TV edit.
When it showed up on the Sci-Fi Channel. So yeah.
But yeah, that was the peak review. So we get through the opening credits, and yeah, that first like shot of them like in the city, and there's like the cobblestones and the carriage. I'm not like a set designer or anything. I was like, okay, this almost feels like a real movie. And then we fucking feast our eyes on fucking Matthew Davis, the guy from Legally Blonde, I think.
Legally Blonde.
He's doing a fucking Tom Brady 2006 cosplay with the fucking half mullet.
Yeah. There was a lot of half mullets in this.
Yeah. With alongside Michael, I don't want to fucking be here, Madsen is at his side.
Yeah.
Michael Madsen was just not into anything. He did not say a single line with conviction. I feel like he refused to like redo any of his lines. He's like,
that was the only person that committed to their role was Ben Kingsley, but that's just his character, so he doesn't have to really try very hard.
There is one other person that committed to their role.
So, but nobody gave any bit of energy into any performance in this movie.
You say that, but we're gonna get to a great special appearance later. But yeah, they get fucking Tom Brady senses that there's a vampire next to him. He pulls out a mirror and he stabs him, kills him. Yeah. Classic. That is actually like kind of similar to the first scene in the video game. I'll give that credit. There's like a opening FMV with like two guys from the Brimstone Society, like seeking out the vampire Rayne. She's not at a carnival. She's already like an established character by the time you start the game, but at least it was something that was kind of like a carryover. So.
Yeah. No, the other thing was like all the vampires. I wasn't sure in that scene just because I'm like, why is the vampire ordering an absinthe? Like, but this was part of the confusion for me. Like these, every vampire movie is different. What's in the shadows? What's that show called?
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows. Like they can't even eat human food. So that's the last vampire-based show I watched. So I see this guy ordering an absinthe, and I'm like, dude, how did he know he was a vampire? You got that little mirror thing. I didn't catch that. So I was like, oh. Yeah,
the original line in the script was, "Can I have a garlic bread? Hold the garlic." But yeah. Speaking of which, the story.
So you just want a piece of French bread with some butter.
Yeah, this fucking this screenplay was written by Guinevere Turner, who the IMDb trivia, which again, grains of salt, it says that her script, it was the first draft, and then like just on set they just like hot shotted it and changed everything. So, but Guinevere Turner was one of the people who helped to adapt Bret Easton Ellis's story, American Psycho, for the screen. She helped write the screenplay for that. I feel like she is an actual writer.
That's one of my favorites.
So very funny to see her name attached to that. So yeah, we find out they're looking for a carnival attraction, and then we get to the carnival scene where we are introduced to our lead character, Rayne, played by Kristanna Loken from Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, I think is her like most popular role, as she's the T whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
The girl.
Is she
Terminator.
In the other two movies that they made?
The other two Bloodraynes? No.
Bloodraynes, yeah. Okay.
No, they replaced her. Yeah, so they got rid of Kristana Loken. She's fine. She's fine in this. I don't think she's like I feel the same way with like 95% of like what the fuck is the actor supposed to do? Like you can tell Uwe Boll doesn't like know how to like direct actors because they just don't have energy and don't try. And he's like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. Like
yeah.
But yeah, like he doesn't know. Like you can tell he doesn't like give proper direction.
Yeah, she didn't have like any character really, and they didn't build her character much, so there wasn't a lot to go on.
Yeah. So, but she does okay with what she's given. I don't think she's the problem with the movie. Her action scenes aren't great. Like she doesn't really sell when she's holding the two swords. Like sometimes it looks a little wonk. But yeah, no, it's fine. She was also in the made-for-TV series Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Oh,
where she played Taja. That's wonderful. If you ever want to watch something and laugh, it's like if Bloodrayne was a series. It's shot with that same energy. It's like if Uwe Boll did a TNT or TBS series in like the mid to late 90s. It's absolutely delightful.
Yeah, I don't remember if I saw that. Was that the one with Michael Jai White? Or was
no, that's later. That's later.
As Jax. Oh.
No, that's later. So this Mortal Kombat Conquest was on TBS Superstation, I think. I think it was I don't know, but it was on for a cup of coffee, and it has like the best series finale ever because like they realized the show got canceled, and there's just an episode where Shang Tsung kills everyone. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, it's about the ancestors of like the current Mortal Kombat people, but you still get like the villains from actual Mortal Kombat. It's incredible, and it's shot with like not cheap 90s like trash TV where like they would just have like scantily clad women on all the time. What's her face? The lady from Jamie Presley. I think she's on one of the episodes. She's one of like Quan Chi's sorceress women. It's wild, man. It's an incredibly fun watch though. Highly recommend.
I know, that's awesome. I did not know that was a thing. So, and I love the original Mortal Kombat movie, so I can hop in anything.
Yeah. Conquest is definitely less good. I'd say it'd be like if Uwe Boll directed the Mortal Kombat movie. Which if that doesn't hook you, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to the carnival. We learn Rayne's like weaknesses. She gets burned by water, but she heals by drinking blood, which is a mechanic in the game. So again, they're covering the bases. There's some actual stuff in the game. Yeah. That's actually a funny thing. Like it was like 95% of my fiance's commentary during the movie was like, I think she needs to eat more. It was all like metabolism based. Like, she'd win this fight if she would just drink more blood.
Yeah.
Or like, why is she so like if she was very confused by like how her metabolism was working. Like from one scene to the next, she'd be like completely disabled by being hungry. And then the next scene, like it went back and forth. So
yeah, well, like outside of that, like that was like one of my biggest issues with the movie was these vampires didn't really have any vampire powers. So at least on the fighting scenes. So I'm like they're not stronger. They don't seem to be faster. They get burned by water, can't go out in the sun, so they have all the same weaknesses that humans do, but none of the strengths that
it's the opposite of Blade. The opposite.
Yeah, so I'm like, how are these vampires like slowly taking over the world like when they're so weak? And it just didn't add up for me. She's getting her butt kicked by the chick from Fast and the Furious, and I'm like, all right, whatever, guys.
Yeah,
she had the most underwhelming performance of her entire career.
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez is kind of a letdown in this, unfortunately. I hate to say it because I love Michelle Rodriguez, but she's pretty uninteresting in this. So she is a man attempts to sexually assault her after the show, and she breaks a bottle over his head to escape. Again, a vampire, someone who's like supposed to be like have some type of superpower, has to defend herself with a bottle. It's very sad. But then when she smashes him with the bottle, she gets like a taste of blood, and then she becomes like an actual vampire, and I guess is strong enough to like beat a bunch of people up.
Yeah, because the blood when they did the carnival scene was it goat blood?
Yeah,
or...
they kill like a goat or a sheep or something, like some farm.
Which also like I don't know if that was part of typical vampire lore. Like vampires wouldn't need to kill humans; they would just feed off of all the goats and be cool. But that's not how it works there. And if that worked, if the goat blood worked, why did the human blood make her fucking lose her shit.
Yeah,
you know?
in the
At
game
least-
there's a mechanic called blood rage, which you get sometimes from fighting. But like you're in control. There's no drawback to it. It's just like it slows everything down and you do way more damage. So I don't know. It has rage in the
Gotcha.
name, so maybe that's what the way they did it in the movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to watch this with an open mind. So, but you know, by the end of the movie, I just had notes about all my issues with the movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, well, not a lot. I have like 5 notes, and yeah, they were all complaints. So, yeah, what were some other Uwe Boll movies? That
He's done a lot of video game movies. So he did Alone in the Dark, I believe. He did Far Cry, which has Till Schweiger in it. He's also in Inglourious Bastards. He did House of the Dead.
Oh, okay, I know that one. I like that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I like it because when I got House of the Dead, we bought a Dreamcast when the Dreamcast had just come out, and we got House of the Dead, and it was, you know, got one of the little guns for the game, so it's like having an arcade game at home. So when the movie came out shortly after I got my Dreamcast, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. This is great. But you know, I guess I haven't seen it in 15 years, so I could be wrong.
There's the one scene where it's like the video game. He does
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. There's also like just random cuts of the video game, like in the movie too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic.
I don't know how to transition this scene, so here's video game cut.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, we then she escapes after tasting blood. She kills her friend who looks like Nadja from the What We Do in the Shadows. She kills that bitch after she gets her swords. And she runs out into the woods. And then a caravan is like rolling through the woods. It gets attacked by vampires. She kills the vampires only after one of the dudes dies. She's just sitting there watching while some guy gets killed. And then she comes out and kicks the vampire's ass.
Well, it's no thing. It didn't add up. She was just raging. She killed all these humans. I get that some of them were keeping her captive, so I understand why she wanted to kill some of them. But then she also kills her only friend at that point in time. And because of this blood rage,
she gets startled. Her friend makes the mistake of like sneaking up on her, going, "Hey, take these swords!" Trying to hand her sword.
It's all no remorse. Like you know, she was laying in the grass for some reason.
I don't know.
Shook by her blood rage, but I was just like, is she upset that she killed her friend, or is she just coming down off that blood high that she got?
I think it was implied she was upset that she killed her friend. Okay. I think she felt bad about that. Again, like that's why you have like scenes in movies where you have her talk to someone about that. Presumably, like you'd have that scene before she fucked somebody. You would have her talk to them about how bad she felt about the last person she got close to getting killed by her, or something. You know, you might do something like that if you were a real movie or something. I don't know. So she
holds on to this. She had feelings. She's very mad at this Kagan guy, also known as her father, for what he did to her mother. But Ben Kingsley. This is one of those movies. Hero dies at the end. Spoiler alert.
Ben Kingsley the hero? Yeah. Okay.
Because really, like we talked about earlier, like these vampires are actually the underdogs. They're coming up in the world, but you know,
he does want them to rise up. It seems like he's trying to fight for their rights. He is a rapist, which it's a bummer. But other than that, he does seem to have his head in the right.
Yeah. All he wants for his people to be free.
I would vote to put him on the Supreme Court if it were up to me. I mean, the precedent's been set. But yeah. Anyways, she boards the caravan. She then begins to ride through, and then so she gets to the monastery and she meets Udo Kier, the great Udo Kier, the wonderful actor from he's in.
Yeah, I saw his name, but I didn't recognize him from anything.
Oh, he's in Blade, dude. He's the guy who gets his teeth ripped out in Blade. He gets his teeth pulled, and then he gets like lit on fire on the beach. The sun comes up. He's been in a ton of really great movies. I love Udo Kier. He's a fantastic actor. He's been acting for so long. We were watching like Suspiria from like the 70s, and he's in that. And he looks exactly the same as he does now.
Hey, Meatloaf held it together for a long time too.
It's true. Meatloaf looks exactly the same.
He was looking good.
Yeah. normally meatloaf only lasts about 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
It's got to be some kind of record. But yeah, anyways, she meets Udo Kier. For some reason, I don't know if this was like mentioned, she like just goes into the basement of the monastery. I don't know if like she got prompted or something, but she just like, there's like this constant like whispering noises. I guess maybe that was to imply that she was being led.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So anyways, she goes down in the basement. She fights some like ugly looking troll thing with a club. She kills it quite brutally. I do like the practical blood effects in the movie. I feel like a movie that's like cheap like this definitely could have went for like full CGI, but having like the blood is a nice touch. So from there she comes into a very video gamey trap room, and then she solves the puzzle, gets across, and receives a artifact which she immediately absorbs. She gets an eye. She has an eye. I don't know what it fucking does.
Yeah. The eye gives her powers, and now she can touch water again.
Yeah. So
Which they don't talk about holy water or anything. It's just water in general, right?
yeah, but until it's not. Normal water hurts her at the beginning, but then there is a scene specifically later on when like the vampire hunter dudes are like gearing up, and they're like, "Let's get some holy water." It's like,
Yeah.
I have a few questions, because that is like a inconsistency in like different types of vampire lore. Is like, does the water have to be holy, or are they just hurt by all water?
Yeah.
And in the video game, she is hurt by all water. Like, you start the first game in like a swamp, and all the swamp water hurts you. So I'm led to believe that is not blessed swamp water. I might be wrong on that, but
and yeah, the carnival folk definitely weren't carrying around.
yeah, I doubt they blessed that piss water bucket. But you never know. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, that's another just inconsistency that I think the movie is it's just not a good movie. I don't think we need to think about it more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, she gets that. The monastery is then attacked by Kagan, our villain, Ben Kingsley's thralls, who are trying to capture Bloodrayne, and the lead thrall, I forget that dude's name, the lead bad guy.
Yeah.
Dominitarian or something. Domaster. Yeah. So he's attacking. There's a fight that ensues. Udo Kier is Udo keeled. And then Domaster like captures Bloodrayne and takes her away. Or I keep calling her Bloodrayne. I think her name's just Rayne.
She's Rayne, but she's Bloodrayne. She's the
Darius Rucker will always be Hootie. But yeah, so anyways, he captures Bloodrayne, and then he takes her to meet a character named Leonid, who is played by the wonderful Meatloaf a Day. The old my doctor always tells me, a meatloaf a day keeps the doctor away. But yeah, Meatloaf is just hamming it up as I would do anything for love. Vampire Meatloaf. He's just like, he's just like, at one point he just like gets like juice or like grease on his finger and like draws a circle on a lady's tit. I had to stop the movie there. I was like, what the fuck is that? Just Meatloaf a Quaalude a Day is just acting up a storm in this movie. And yeah, then a fight ensues where Michael Madsen shoots out some windows, and Meatloaf gets burned by the sun. He would do anything for love.
Well, and that scene, I was like, all right, like, because Meatloaf's just got a bunch of naked chicks in his bed, and I was like, all right, they just wanted to make this movie rated R because nothing about this was too violent or anything else. The only thing that pushed it to that R rating was the nudity, in my mind, at least.
There was a lot of blood. It was violent enough to be an R.
There was a lot of blood, but I don't know.
It was definitely cemented as an R rating. Insert the Euro Trip guy going, well, there's your R rating right there. But yeah,
No, I was just gonna say, because like, I think of the Marvel movies and there's no blood in those, and some of them have got to be PG. Like maybe they're all PG-13, but
I think they're all PG-13 because they always like to get the easy ass or butt joke in.
Yeah,
it's always fun to get that.
Yes, if a ton of fake blood makes it R-rated, then that did. But it was unnecessary.
Yeah, I think all the nudity in the movie is unnecessary. That said, I think that is one of the like centerpieces of the game is the sex appeal. I will say.
Okay.
I think that's
and then
like
maybe Meatloaf was like Uwe Boll's like big grab. He's like, I will make this movie, but you got to give me Meatloaf. And Meatloaf's like, the only way I'm making this movie if there's a bunch of naked chicks.
Yeah, and it turns out if you want to believe IMDb trivia, those women were all Romanian prostitutes. Because Uwe Boll said that was cheaper than hiring actresses.
It's a man on a budget.
Yeah.
It costs a lot more to get SAG actresses to
exactly
show their boobs.
You can get a SAG actress or you can get a perk actress. But anyways, after that wonderful scene, our like kind of protagonists are all together finally, but they are holding Rayne as a captive. They sail her across a boat. It looks really, really good. Sailing across the water, it looks like they're actually on the water. Definitely doesn't look screened at all. Definitely doesn't look like the rooftop from the room or anything. Beautiful boat ride. They reach their little like I don't know, like their fortress, I guess. It's one of the like they're the Brimstone Society, which I guess is a bunch of different like loosely connected like forts which are fighting against the vampires or something. That really never made a ton of sense. But yeah, so they make it to the
well, they don't go into the whole world either. So, you know, this is like your traditional like medieval movie where like the only society that is on Earth is the people that are in this movie. So, you know, when Ben Kingsley is talking about conquering the world, he's really just talking about conquering Brimstone, because that's, you know, maybe that's all the people that are left.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even remember the Michael Madsen's character's name, but
Vladimir.
Okay, yeah. But he really didn't have, you know, they didn't give him any backstory, so you have no idea why he believes so much in Bloodrayne. He's like Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix. Like, she is the one. Like, but why is he so convicted to his beliefs?
She assimilates the eye, which he says no one can do. But again, that felt like something that was like a tie-in or a reference to like some existing source material, and it's just not. So sorry, when you are like the actual movie that made this thing up, you do have to explain the thing.
Yeah. If you're expecting people to already know this stuff, you're really narrowing your audience.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, they reach the city. They reach their like little fort. They imprison her. She wants food. They offer her food, and I believe it's at somewhere around here where we get our special appearance by Billy Zane. Somewhere in like the transition of Game to the Fort. And oh my, this scene as Billy Zane I think is worth the price of admission alone. Oh my God, he's like dictating a letter to his daughter, who turns out to be Michelle Rodriguez, and it's just the most like I don't know if he had a script in front of him or not, because he's either the greatest actor of all time, which possible, or he's just straight up making it up, because he's just like taking these random pauses. He's like searching for words as he's like dictating this letter to be written to his daughter. And he's like, it's just the whole cadence of it is absolutely insane. I fucking love it so much. My favorite part of the movie by a mile. And then at the end he's like, how'd that sound? And the dude's like, it was really, really good. It was moving, sir. And he's like, you're such a kiss ass. And there's like a pause for laughter. Like I fucking loved that. I thought that was a legit some of the most charming shit ever. But yeah, anyways, so we get to the next bit. They decide they're gonna train Bloodrayne. There's a training montage where she learns how to fight. Even though in the monastery scene, it was kind of implied that she could already fight, because she kicked like several dudes' ass already and seemed to be like semi-competent. So it is weird that there's she
smashed that freaking ogre, you know, like it was nothing, like, you know.
Yeah, I feel like they were obligated to show a scene where someone like beat her in fighting.
Where are these superpowers when she
Yeah, I feel like they should have shown her lose. Like she gets captured, but I feel like she got captured because she like got distracted or something. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but I feel like she didn't get captured because she got bested in combat. And so it's just like why well, you're training her, but you haven't shown us to this point like that any of these dudes are better at sword fighting than her or anything. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, we get a training montage. We get a scene where they're like eating. No, that's later. That's after they fuck. Sorry. And then there's like one scene where like the lead dude, Matt Davis, Sebastian, Tom Brady, he's talking to her and he's like, yeah, my parents both got killed by vampires. He like leaves, and then just the next scene they fuck for some reason.
Yeah, no, it didn't make sense because I was like, why? Like, I get that he's the handsome dude in the movie, but it just didn't make sense because they didn't really build him up to be like this great warrior, which she's special. So why isn't she interested in someone that's special?
Yeah.
Vladimir was the obvious choice because
Billy
she
Zane.
has, Billy Zane. But she's obviously got daddy issues, so I thought she was going to go for the older dude, but I missed that mark.
But no, they bang, and it's an explicitly unnecessary bang. There's boobs in it. It's unnecessary. Yeah. It's always weird when the lead is like frontally nude in a movie. You know what I mean? Like your lead character.
Yeah, that, and I was also like questioning the direction, and maybe there wasn't any because I always think that these sex scenes are got to be interesting when somebody's giving you direction because. What was that character's name?
Sebastian.
Sebastian. He licks her nipple, and I was like, "Oh man, was that scripted?" Like, I guess they were going for that shot right there.
There was a face and boob shot only. There was a shot that was framed as just face and boobs. So
to say that there was no direction, that was quite the direction right there. So like, all right, this is the shot we're going for right now.
It's also like it's just not implied that either of the characters, like, it'd be cool, like it'd be interesting, like if you just implied like Rayne like wanted to bang somebody because she like hadn't. She was obviously like a captive for a long time. You could have like almost made it like an empowering like thing, but they weren't going for that at all. Like, there's no hint of anything. Like it's just fucking just sex.
She had no idea what was going on because at first she was gonna like bite his neck like that. That's what she thought they were doing. She's like, oh yeah, I know what we're doing here. And then like he's like, no, we're kissing. And then she's like, oh, I got something else going on right now. And then like at one scene, like she gets down, and I guess she was probably like pulling his pants down or hers. But I was like, no way she knows how to do this. I thought she was gonna give him a blowjob or something. And then she pops right back up. I was like, okay, false alarm. No way she knows how to do that. She's been captive her whole life. So, but
yeah. But anyways, there's a sex scene. It's really like awkward too. Like they're like up against like a door, and like the door's like opening and closing the whole time. Like she's grabbing the door, but like the door's like swinging open and closed a little bit every time. So it's like making like a noise, and it just doesn't seem. They both like they both don't seem into it. Tom Brady feels bad because
that whole they're both standing facing each other and having sex. That's not the best way to go about anything, no matter who. So, my God.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I do know. I do know that there's plenty of objects around. The standing sex is not great. That said, I will say in the game when you suck enemies' bloods, you do like straddle them like that, and you do make orgasm noises. So maybe that was a reference. Maybe Uwe Boll knew what he was doing.
My favorite video game. We're going to do this right.
Yeah, just like awkward, no chemistry. You can see like on Tom Brady's face, he's thinking about Giselle the whole time. Like, it just fucking sucks. Like, it's not good. I don't know. And it's just out of nowhere. There's like no character motivation or build up. Like they have like no chemistry up to that point. There's like nothing in it for either of them. There's no like power dynamic that like either one's like capitalizing on. There's nothing. It's just senseless, gratuitous nonsense. So yeah, the next scene, it's actually kind of funny that she's like in a good mood for like the first time in the movie and smiling after she gets boned. So maybe that's something. But she's like hanging out and at breakfast, and she's like hanging out with a little kid. And the little kid dies later. Spoiler alert. I feel like that was pretty cheap, just to get you to be like, oh, the bad guys are bad. Did you know that? Do you know the guy that we've been calling a rapist the whole time is a bad guy? His army killed a child. Yeah. But anyways, they then decide, I guess, that they have to like leave to go after Kagan or something.
Yeah. Is this then Michelle Rodriguez disagrees with what they're doing?
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez doesn't want to leave. But then the bad guy Domestier goes and visits Michelle Rodriguez's dad. He intercepts like her letter, and then he's like extorting Billy Zane. But then like Billy Zane just like not having any of it. I don't know if that's Billy Zane, the actor, or the character he's playing. But Billy Zane's like, will you please stop yelling at me? Like, stop throwing things at me. Like, I love it. I love Billy Zane so much in this. He's so fucking good. Oh my God. by far the best part of the movie. But he's like sitting there, and they're talking about like getting Domestir to like betray Kagan, and like Billy Zane's vampires are gonna try to like do a little coup. But then that ends up not happening, and that's the last we see of him, and the thread is just dropped. So I don't know if Domestir killed him or what, because you cut away. And it's never mentioned again. And you're like, well, maybe Michelle Rodriguez will follow up on that. Literally, the next scene is Michelle Rodriguez going after the next artifact, which is like the heart of some ancient vampire. All these like artifacts are like his body parts, I guess. And by collecting them, you get power, but you don't really seem to get stronger. So again, I don't know what the point of anything is. Yeah. But they're collecting these artifacts. Michelle Rodriguez.
Watching the only thing that got me through the entire movie. I was saying the only thing that got me through the entire movie was like, all right, we're going to get to the end and there's going to be a big like Blade boss level. The guy's going to be leveled up with all 3 artifacts and we're going to see something crazy.
Yeah.
So
I was hoping he'd like transform into like a giant like winged beast, like the Castlevania. He becomes like a giant like blue Dracula, you know? But no. Well, and they like when they talk about the artifacts, they just drop like, oh, there was this ancient vampire who figured out how to become immune to all the weaknesses. And I was like, so he figured out how to become human again? Because that's like the only. Because you have no powers.
Like, I get it. So he figured out how to become human again. That's the only thing that made sense.
They don't like demonstrate the power scaling of the vampires very well.
But
anyways, the Michelle Rodriguez dives and gets an artifact. Bloodrayne, I'm gonna keep calling her Bloodrayne, fuck it. Bloodrayne finds her and jumps in the water and chases after her. Bloodrayne gets stabbed, and then in the most disappointing and ineffectual fight scene I think I've ever seen in a movie, they're both just like trying to get out of the water. And then Bloodrayne just breaks Michelle Rodriguez's neck and eats her blood. And that's it. Michelle Rodriguez, probably like the 4th like biggest character in the movie, is just instantly killed and dead. And the entire thread with like her dad, Billy Zane, trying to like usurp Kagan, it's just all gone. It's all over. Never revisited. Just dropped stone dead like Michelle Rodriguez's broken neck. And then from there we go to the next scene, which is the other 2 guys are like getting ready to storm the castle, and Bloodrayne goes up to she like offers herself up, Return of the Jedi style.
Well, the guys were waiting. I wasn't even sure if they were waiting for Michelle Rodriguez or Bloodrayne. I'm like, who are they waiting for? Because they don't show Bloodrayne leave. It's not like she goes and talks to them and they have a plan. There's no plan whatsoever. It's very like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself and hopefully figure something out while I'm there.
Yeah, and they have a gearing up scene, which is where they establish that holy water is a thing, even though regular water appears to also be a thing. So charmed, I'm sure. Also, I should have gotten this earlier. That's a fucking giant pet peeve of mine with actual water just being a weakness. Human like blood product, there is water in it. So if like putting your hand in a bucket of water would like melt your hand, if like water's that toxic to you, there's literally like water in, like humans are mostly water. So if you were drinking humans, you would get some water for sure. And also there is, in Earth's atmosphere, there's just like water vapor. There's a constant amount of water in the air. So that's another thing that annoyed me about the movie Signs, because if water like hurt you physically, just like water hits you and it injures you, like those aliens would not have been able to survive on Earth at all without suits. So the idea that like throwing a glass of water at them hurts them, but they would just be like, Earth is the planet we want. Like, it's the stupidest shit. It sucks. But yeah, anyways, that aside, they storm the castle. They use black powder bombs, which are from China. I don't know why they mentioned that, but they did.
Well, yeah, and that scene too, like, because they used the bombs. The guys come out. I don't think they killed anybody.
Yeah, they like stormed the castle.
Yeah, they stormed the castle, and I don't think they get one kill off, and they're just captured. They sacrifice themselves, just like Bloodrayne. She just walked in. She's like, "Hey, here's the artifact," which also she gives the guy the artifact, and this is like the typical James Bond fashion, where they're like, he's like, "Oh, here's the artifact, sir. Don't you want to open it?" And he's like, "No, I'm going to save it for later." So he doesn't open the box.
Yeah, that fucking annoyed the shit out of me. Because I immediately in my head was like, I have a smarter idea. So it's supposed to be like a heart, right? So I thought that she at least like ripped Michelle Rodriguez's heart out and put it in the box.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought happened.
Like, because no doubt you'd be able to tell that the box was empty as soon as you held it, right?
He's like, oh, well, it's an old heart. Of course, it's going to be dehydrated and
it's just
barely existent. So makes sense.
It's just like you would think, like, what is this, mahogany? This is dense.
She could put the old eyeball in there, anything.
Yeah. No, it's fucking, even like sand. She could have been sand in there. Just dirt. Like, but no, when he opened it and it was empty, I was like, okay, this movie fucking hates me.
Yeah. Well, when he opens up he's already got the rib, because I don't know if you mentioned it, they got the eyeball, the heart, and the rib are the 3 artifacts from this ancient vampire. And they don't explain how he got the rib. They don't give you any backstory on what any of these artifacts actually do. Yeah. Except with the eyeball, you get that she becomes immune to the water. But I'm like, where's what I want? I want answers to these questions. What does the heart do?
Yeah. Why didn't they make like Meatloaf have like the rib? Because then there would have been like a point to her intersecting with Meatloaf. Like, I know Meatloaf doesn't typically have ribs, but like for once, just once for the sake of the movie, we could say Meatloaf had the rib. Meatloaf's just eating a McRib. So they're preparing like some ritual to get the eye out of her. The dudes break out of the jail, which, like, why even have them be captured if they're just going to immediately break out? Why didn't you just like time it so them running in was just like 2 scenes later? So then you don't have to have them break out of jail, right? What was the point of that?
What's the point of them having, they're vampires? What's the point in them having any prisoners at all, or dungeons?
I guess they could eat them later, and if they like didn't completely milk them, they could theoretically have like a sustainable thing of food. That's the thing that like Meatloaf was doing in his dungeon. He had like people like chained up that he was just like milking for blood. Yeah,
I guess that makes sense, because that was when they captured the 2 guys, I was like, why don't they kill them? These guys are trying to kill you. You kill them. You got a whole village you're going to conquer now. Like, you don't need to worry about these 2 guys hanging on to them.
You were Scott Eviling the whole movie.
I'm going to place him in an easily escapable situation involving an overly elaborate and exotic death.
So yeah, a struggle ensues. They end up, I forget the exact mechanism by which they free Bloodrayne. Does Michael Madsen like shoot one of his little crossbow bolts or something?
Well, Bloodrayne's laying there. It wasn't Michael Madsen. It was Sebastian. He goes in and he's got 2 swords. He puts a sword next to her, and then he cuts her free, and then she's free.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, I remember now, because there's a scene where they drop down because they're at the higher level, and Tom Brady does like a front flip, and fucking Michael Madsen's fat lazy ass like rappels down the banner, like he does the knife into he does the old like Errol Flynn knife into the flag, and I'm gonna slide down the flag thing. But it's funny because when he pokes the flag and then he starts sailing on it, he immediately like loses 35 pounds and then is shot from the back. I don't know what that was. But yeah, then a fight happens. Everyone starts fighting and stabbing around. They kind of like, they sequester off into their own separate fights. You get Sebastian versus the lead like bad guy Domestier, and then you get Vladimir against some of the thralls. And while Bloodrayne's like fighting the guys that were in her immediate vicinity, Ben Kingsley, in the laziest way I've ever seen, kills Michael Madsen.
Yeah,
just walks into him with the sword out.
Yeah, and as soon as the like battle started, broke out, you see him slip the rib into his,
Is that what that was? I thought that was like a pen.
And I'm like, all right, here we go. Maybe it was a pen. It doesn't make sense that it was a pen, though. He's got this special artifact, the only one that he actually has. So I thought he slipped the rib into his sleeve.
That might be it. We were wondering what that was.
Yeah, but so he just slinks up. But again, the rib did nothing. I'm like, all right, he's got the rib. Well, obviously, I guess he can't absorb it like Bloodrayne can. But I was like, all right, this guy's going to be special for something.
And so, yeah, he kills Michael Madsen. And Michael Madsen gives
like you said, he stabbed Michael Madsen. When you say, like, he stabbed him right in the heart, and, somehow he, clung on to life for another 5 minutes while the whole thing went down.
Michael Madsen does the least interested in his own death, on-screen death, I think I've ever seen in a movie. Like he's just like, oh, you got me. Like he doesn't, like, no facial expression to being stabbed in the heart. Like, you're not even gonna like furrow your brow a bit, bro. Yeah. So Michael Madsen is dispatched, not dead, as David pointed out. And then Tom Brady's fighting against Domestir. He like seems like he has Domestir beat, but then Domestir does the fucking Darth Maul, the spinny, like behind the I'm gonna stab you backwards. Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love that a heel got that. I feel like that's the thing in movies. Movie heels don't get the retaliatory attack enough, so he gets him, catches him off guard.
Yeah.
But and then after he's gravely wounded, Sebastian does manage to just like casually put the blade against his neck enough to kill him.
Yeah, he did the like I forget what movie it is, but he's got the blade in his stomach and he like pulls him closer. He's like, oh, he absorbs the blade even further and puts his hand onto the other side of this extremely sharp blade and just like pulls it into the guy's throat. But no blood from his hand. For a movie with this much blood, there was no cut on his hand. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like this had all the makings of a good movie, but they just missed the mark. I'm like, all right, this is Blade, but it's a chick. I'm in. Yeah. And no grand finale. Well, I guess she goes on to fight Ben Kingsley.
Yeah,
Kogan.
Yeah, Krogan. She fights.
Krogan.
She fights Kegel. Her and Kegel start fighting, and they have a fight again. I was expecting him to like transform. It's like that scene in Iron Man 3 when you realize that Ben Kingsley's the Mandarin. If that was the final boss of the movie.
Yeah. Well, and like the issue I have with Ben Kingsley at the end is that they built him up to be this weak vampire this entire movie, but he's this elite swordsman when he's fighting Bloodrayne, who has gotten training and been killing everybody who's elite, and then Ben Kingsley, who's withering away and weak and losing power, is pretty much best for the entire time.
Again, if he used like a power, if he had like blood powers or like a thing, like he turned into a bat, or like he did anything like. But he just like lazily, like badly sword fights people, and he's just stronger than all of them.
Yeah,
it sucks. But anyways, the fight ends. The Sebastian throws like holy water. Ben Kingsley like catches it. And it's like fuck you, and then it immediately gets shot and explodes in Ben Kingsley's face. And then that gives Bloodrayne enough time. It really doesn't actually, because then he goes down to stab her with the pen or like the bolt or whatever. He shoots him and he catches that, or he pulls the bolt out of his pocket. I can't even fucking remember. I'm so confused. But
So he throws the holy water. Sebastian knew he was going to catch it, so he already had his bolt ready. Shoots that, gets the holy water, and then shoots another bolt. And Ben Kingsley was already ready to catch it.
Yeah,
immediately stabbing Bloodrayne.
But then she like gets mad. She remembers that he raped her mom, and then she stabs him with the bolt, and that's the end.
Yeah, stabs him and poof.
And that's it. That's our final boss. One shotted.
Yeah. I also have that last battle, like, because there were some vampires, like we talked about. Some of these guys got the furrowed brow. Other guys, like I know they talked about how he had some humans working for him. Yeah. And so I'm like, are half these guys human, or are they vampires? I don't know. They didn't do a good job with any part of the movie. Yeah. Except for Billy Zane. But Billy Zane needs no direction.
Yeah, I'm convinced that those were they just gave Billy Zane like a camera, and he just shot those on his own and made it up. Because like he doesn't actually interact with anyone from the no, I think Domestir shows up in one of the shots.
Yeah.
But like the first bit, like he doesn't interact with anyone else who's in the movie, which I love. But anyways, we then get like Sebastian's like dying, and Bloodrayne like offers to turn him into a vampire, and in the ultimate dick move, he like this is like the most extreme form of ghosting ever. He's like, "Fuck you, don't make me a vampire," and dies.
Yeah,
that fucking ruled.
And then me being the sucker I am, I'm like, all right, there's powers in these artifacts. She's got the heart, because all you get, because I think he says don't cry, and she's got one tear that drops down to her chin, and I'm like, we're gonna see some magic right now. Like something's gonna happen. And I was waiting for the tear to drop down and heal his grave wound that he had, but that's just the child in me just hoping for hope.
You get nothing. He fucked her, and then he doesn't want to live eternally with her. And it's like, no, let me die, please. I feel like there's no more fitting way for the film Bloodrayne to end. She then does like the Chronicles of Riddick thing when she sits on the throne.
Yeah,
that's how it actually ends.
Again,
Like
I
Conan.
was disappointed because that, and maybe I'm wrong about Ben Kingsley having it in his sleeve, but I'm like, the rib's right there. Like you have all three of the artifacts. Like, come on, the bone is there. I'm literally like a dog with the bone, like waiting for her to go find the rib and collect it. And now she's, you know, this super powered vampire or something, but no, she just sits in the throne and has no emotion, which carried through the movie pretty well, except for when she was happy.
Yeah, her one post-coitus scene, she was like smiling, but that was it. Yeah, and that's it.
But I gotta wait second movie because maybe she's gonna have his child. I don't know.
I don't think that happens. I'm pretty sure he's dead, and I'm pretty sure she's not pregnant.
Definitely dead. Yeah. I was hoping for a little quarter vampire child, even more than the half vampire, half human.
Yeah, I guess it would be a wet peer. A damp peer is a half, and you get a wet peer is a quarter.
A moist peer.
Yeah, moist peer. They get less wet. Yeah. But yeah, and that's Bloodrayne. I like pretty much one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It felt like it was 2.5 hours long. It was only an hour and a half long.
Yeah,
I looked at it afterwards. I'm like, this had to have been like at least an hour and 50. It was like, nope, hour 30. Oh my god. But yeah, it's something if Billy Zane can't save your movie.
Yeah,
Billy Zane saved like Demon Knight. He saved Titanic. If Billy Zane can't single-handedly make your bad movie good, then you've got a problem. But yeah, any final thoughts on Bloodrayne, Dave?
No, man. It did not make me want to play the video game.
I guess our tie-in for the last episode would be there's the Hillary Duff song about the... Oh, no, there is a tie-in. I have one.
Ooh.
I should have mentioned it earlier, because Bloodrayne, the entire movie, and it's mentioned several times, she's wearing a giant Haley Duff cross the whole movie. Yeah. She's wearing a Haley Duff / Hillary Duff giant crucifix the whole fucking movie. So far we are 2 for 2 on movies where the lead female character is just wearing a giant crucifix. So we'll see if we can keep that going.
Oh man!
But yeah, thanks Uwe. It was a bull. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I got nothing good to say about the movie. I was talking with Christy and one of her friends, and I was telling her about this podcast we're doing. And yeah, first movie was Material Girls. I'm like, hey, yeah, we're about to do our second one, and it's another rough one. I'm like, I wish I had something good to say about these movies. She's like, oh, let me look at the list of the 100 movies. There's got to be something good on there. So far, no. So, you know, like we said, it can't get worse from here, but it's supposed to.
Yeah, this is the 99th.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to go.
Yeah. But this one was at least a lot easier to find than
It's true.
Material.
It is on Amazon Prime. It is a free film. Free on Amazon Prime, so check it out.
Yeah, you can also watch the other two if you so dare.
That'll be it for this one. It was a fucking doozy. And just remember to take a meatloaf a day to keep the doctor away.